What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week, Justin Davis,
Scoop.
Brian Altano, Greg Miller.
You're going to die by a meteor attack.
We have a fantastic show planned for you today. We're going to talk about Assassin's Creed Rogue. We're going to talk about Zelda Monopoly. But first, clean up a little extra business from last week. We were talking about Watch Dogs. There's apparently some new content coming that takes place in Camden, New Jersey. We thought that was a random place to pick.
Yeah.
I wish we would have had you on the show. You were just enlightening us that it's actually very dangerous. It's
terrifying. Camden, New Jersey is historically and annually one of the most dangerous places in the country. Lots of crime, lots of death, lots of murder.
One of our listeners, Rob, knows this. He says, just writing an email in response to the last Game Scoop, I was surprised when you guys were discussing the Watch Dogs Twitter account, tweeting about Camden, New Jersey. One of you even thought Camden was pretty random. I was surprised
Camden, New Jersey.
surprised none of you realized that Camden, New Jersey is one of the U.S. cities with the most surveillance. Apparently they have a controversial surveillance program in place because it's so dangerous there.
Surprised none of you knew this, living on the completely opposite coast of the country and having a life.
So I guess they have a lot of surveillance and they use it to watch all the crimes that they don't stop.
Yeah, apparently,
to keep that crime rate up so high.
So knowing that makes a lot more sense for why you can take the Watch Dogs game mechanics and put them in Camden.
So did that get confirmed that there's content coming? Because I remember last week we were like, oh, what does it mean?
I mean, it seems like it seems very legit, but no more.
No announcements have been made.
The hint from the Twitter account was a little on the nose.
Yeah.
Unless it's just tweeting about random
Just about surveillance.
Des Moines, Iowa, you're next.
Fun camera facts from the Watch Dogs Twitter account.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Ransky's running around here behind the cameras, fixing everything. All right.
It's not going to save your family.
Let's get right into
Nothing
it. Nothing
can stop these meteors. Everyone just hug your loved ones, because one day, they're not going to warn you when the meteors are getting close either, like they do in the movies. It'll literally just be, what's that? Oh!
Yeah, who's going to hug you?
You think the scientists will, they know that they're coming, but they're like, there's nothing we can do, just don't tell anybody.
100%, yeah.
Really?
How slow are these meteors? I mean, do we know they're coming like 30 years from now?
Yeah, talk to Greg. He's the one.
How slow are these meteors?
They're fast. They're coming pretty quick.
Yeah, but that's all relative, right? Like, they can be coming incredibly fast, but they can still be years away.
Sure.
Would you want to know?
No.
If the meteors were coming in 2 years.
It would be
2 years.
It would be insanity. Everything would immediately fall apart.
It'd be like the Purge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can't tell it for society. You just have to let it get snuffed out on its own.
All right.
You get everybody in the salt bunkers.
Let's talk about Assassin's Creed. Speaking of doomsday scenarios, I think that's part of the story in Assassin's Creed, right?
Right.
Is that what the Templars are starting?
It's never good.
No one knows. This is the apple of Eden. And
We finally got confirmation that there is a second Assassin's Creed game coming this year to last-gen consoles.
Yep.
Assassin's Creed Rogue.
it was previously codenamed Comet.
Yep. Not Meteor. It's out November. What?
This is maybe a super stupid question. What's the difference between a comet and a meteor?
I know.
Comets are happy.
I used
and you
to
can
know
wish
this.
on them.
I used to know this.
Isn't it something along the lines of, I'm making it up.
Are comets in orbit and meteors aren't?
Exactly, because comets will come back. They'll come back.
Halley's Comet comes
Yeah,
back?
because comets orbit the sun and meteors don't. Nah.
There you go.
Comets don't hit the Earth either. They just
We hope.
Well, they could if
think they could.
if they cross the Earth's orbit.
No, they know not to do that.
Really? Anyway, we're taking a look at the trailer for Assassin's Creed Rogue. It's out November 11th, which is 2 weeks after Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah. A lot of new additions in this one. There's a guy with a hood.
Well, at least
It actually is different.
You're playing as a Templar. You're playing as one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
I bet there's going to be some gray area.
Looks like there's a lot of gray area.
You refer
So
to
it was so white.
like
It was
Arctic
so-
joke?
It's snowy, yeah.
It's supposed to mix sea and land gameplay, much like Assassin's Creed 4, which is good news to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Takes place.
Why are you actually going to play this then?
I mean, I don't know. I loved 4.
But wouldn't you be more inclined to play Unity on your nice brand new systems?
Yes,
than plug
that
back in
actually
Xbox?
brings us to a question from one of our listeners, Matt Anderson, who asked,
Mr. Anderson, are you aware of the impending meteors? The fact that nothing can save the Ransky family.
If you take your tongue, you cannot tell anyone about the meteors.
Matt says, now that Assassin's Creed Rogue has been officially confirmed and we know the timeline, should I wait to play Rogue first before Unity due to the timeline? Because the story in Rogue apparently sets things up for Unity.
Oh.
Even though Unity comes out first.
Nope.
So you should play Unity, and then 6 months later, you should play Rogue when Rogue comes to PS4.
This guy.
Because that's what's going to happen.
That's my
There you
plan.
go.
Because Ubisoft! And this is, I mean, look, even Liberation got ported, right? So,
Yeah.
Well, they had to make their money back on that one.
Yeah. So,
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
That's actually a good. Yeah, I guess I'll just wait.
I
and play
absolutely
it.
feel the same. Like I'm actually super excited about Rogue because I love the sea and land gameplay in 4. I'm more excited about that than them going back to an urban environment in Unity. But I just don't have those consoles hooked up anymore. Like I'd have to drag the 360 out of the closet, plug it in. That would probably be the last game I ever play on it. I absolutely hope that they release a version of that on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
I still have my PS3 hooked up, but I don't see myself going from playing an Assassin's Creed game on PS4 to playing one on PS3 within the same month.
Right.
First of all, that's a lot of Assassin's Creed. Too much, one would say. Most would say too much.
Who would you would say?
I would say.
I would say
and
that.
I would
Would you say
Is
that?
that one you
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
There you go. The majority.
That's
most
most.
would say that.
3 would
Most
say.
What would you say?
I'm excited about both.
Okay, would you play
Except
both
you
in a
won't,
month?
you won't drag your system out and plug it in to play. That's how excited you are.
I'm so tired of all these consoles. It's just heavy.
There has to be an easier way.
There is.
With a PC, you have every console.
He picks up, breaks his back. Oh! There's pasta everywhere. And milk.
Milk.
Limes.
Milk.
This milk was supposed to make my back strong.
Oh, the meteors.
To let you in, Justin and his wife drink milk for dinner, and we think it's really weird.
No, they drink milk with dinner. They don't. It's just not. Oh, dinner time.
Time for dinner, honey. Here you go, Jamie.
That is an important distinction.
Have a
You're
piece
right.
of bread tonight. No bread, just the milk.
Bread at dinner time? Why, that's not milk. That's crazy. Get that bread out of here. Smack it on the floor with the PS3 and that old pasta.
We're on a.
Osteoporosis is
Yeah.
a real. It'll get you.
We're off to a good start with GameScoop today.
The milk is not weird. We already went
We're
over
not going to
this.
do this again. We're not going to do this
Exactly,
again.
because I fucking won last time.
Majority did rule that drinking milk at dinner is not crazy.
Overwhelmingly.
Even
No,
though
wow.
that just shows everyone else is crazy and we're the only sane people.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of children that watch this, listen to.
My mom makes me drink milk all the time.
I love milk. I don't know about you guys. It's the best at dinner time.
Mickey Mouse listens
Yeah.
to the show.
It goes great with my dinosaur chicken nuggets and Funyuns and silly straws.
Yeah, you might be on because we do eat like mac and cheese for dinner sometimes. So,
Really?
Yeah.
And milk?
Just like a
But there's
lot.
milk. There's milk in mac and cheese.
Is it Kraft mac and cheese?
That's a milky dinner.
Yeah, that's high dairy dinner.
Wait, there's no protein there. There's no meat. You just have mac and cheese and milk for dinner?
We don't eat a lot of meat.
Anyway, is there anything else we need to cover off on Assassin's Creed Rogue? It's coming this fall.
I think it's for me like a non-issue. I love Assassin's Creed games and I love playing them. I have no fucking idea what the story is in Assassin's Creed anymore. I'm so
that's not what
so off into the weeds that like
Yeah.
in what order should I play these? I'm like, what does it even
that's the
matter?
other thing.
I run to the cool things on the map and I do them until they go away, and then I move to the new area. And every now and then they're like, oh, and there's a cutscene. They say that and some guy gets stabbed. I'm like, all right, can I get back to the cool stuff now? I don't care.
It has you alluded to it. Matt alluded to it in his letter that the storylines are supposed to be connected, and it kind of bridges the gap. So it's like there's the Kenway storyline that was Assassin's Creed 3 and 4 mostly, and then Unity is kind of a new storyline, but Rogue is in between the two. It connects the storyline of 3 and 4, and then Unity, and then Rogue sits in the middle of those. And so there might be something interesting there from a storyline perspective, but absolutely not. Play them in whatever order you want.
Yeah, we thought it was a lot when they annualized Assassin's Creed, and now it's like double annualized.
I know. It's been annualized since the very first one. One's come out every year.
No, there was a year in between 1 and 2 at least. And then ever since then there's been.
The year without Creed, they called it.
Yep.
When you are with
With arms wide open.
You guys don't have to do that. There's no need for that.
This week, Nintendo and GameStop announced
They're getting it on.
Zelda Monopoly.
Yeah.
And this is not something that I would normally take a lot of note of, but people actually seemed into this and were excited about it.
Which is weird.
So, as an adult, like, when do you ever really play Monopoly?
I love Monopoly.
Monopoly is the
When do
worst.
you play Monopoly?
Can I answer this question?
Monopoly.
Yeah.
So I was at the mall in San Francisco a few weeks back, and there's a toy store up on the top floor, and I was like, I just popped in because there's always still a tiny child inside me, and I noticed that they had Nintendo Monopoly there, and it was 75% off, meaning it was like $11, and I'm like,
Did you buy the hell out of that?
I'm like, I'm buying this thing, of course. So I brought it home and I opened it up, and me and my fiance played Monopoly, and it within 2 hours because she played like an idiot. Like, I love you, baby, but you play Monopoly like a fool.
Yeah, be ruthless.
She was just like, no, I don't. Every time she would land on the place, she'd be like, I don't need to buy that. I'd be like, I do, because I'm rolling the end game here, where you're going to be paying me out for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So we played a full game Monopoly, had some drinks, and had a really good time. It's really fun, even with two players. I think Monopoly is a great game.
Yeah, I just remember playing it as a kid, and I haven't played it since.
Keep in mind, though,
Monopoly is a disaster of a board game.
I feel like the Zelda Monopoly is doing the same thing, but they give you all these cool pieces, right?
Yeah.
And the Nintendo one does the same thing, but all of the and obviously here they call them money rupees.
Yeah,
and
that's cute. Yep.
But the houses and hotels not shown are the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Like, they call them stupid things. Like here, they're like, oh, they're.
What's the hotel in Zelda World?
It's called like a temple or something. Something nonsense.
Nice.
But it looks exactly like the red and white thing. And in the Zelda one, they're like, oh, these are coin huts and question blocks.
Yeah,
just stop.
Can we pull up the image again of the board?
That looks awesome.
Well, I feel like they didn't go far enough. I don't know, but there we go. You still have the same go. The same.
Yeah.
You still have jail.
There's those pieces that have to stay the same.
But it doesn't have to be jail. Why go to jail that has the old timey 1930s policeman on it? Like they couldn't have a guard.
See what I was
Zelda on there.
It couldn't be Mount Doom.
No, I think legally they're not allowed to touch four spaces on the board. No, honestly,
that's just Hasbro.
Sure, but here's the thing: is what I said I couldn't believe.
That's Monopoly law.
What I was surprised about is when you were saying in the beginning is that people were super excited about this, right? Like there's literally 300 different versions of Monopoly. And I've seen them, and I've seen Nintendo, and I've seen the Chicago Bears, and I've seen New York City, and, I think these are like the unifying factors of it. So I was surprised that people were like, Zelda, I mean, it's neat, don't get me wrong.
I think 300 is being conservative too, because I think there's like for community, every individual community colleges have their own Monopoly.
Yeah.
We could probably get Game Scoop-opoly if we wanted it.
We will. We want that.
Yeah.
We'd love that.
So did we ever figure out? I was super curious about what the boardwalk.
Justin's piece is a glass of milk.
What's the boardwalk in Zelda Monopoly?
I don't know.
I don't know why I'm so curious about
The player
I want to know
tokens
what they think is the most valuable land.
Pop it back up
It's
there.
probably Hyrule Castle, right?
In 5
Pop it
minutes,
up.
it'll be up. Can we tell?
Can we
tell? You see, it's
Hyrule
not a
Castle.
particularly high res.
It looks like it looks like a castle. It's probably Hyrule Castle.
It's probably Ganon and Zelda's castles.
The player tokens are a bow, hookshot, boomerang, Triforce, Hylian Shield, and a GameStop exclusive Ocarina of Time.
Ooh. Those aren't even remote. Everyone wants the Triforce.
Yeah.
There's no Master Sword.
Ooh.
Also, look at all that weird stuff they put in the bow.
Yeah.
So that dead air. That
The webbing of the bow. Yeah. Could they not? There's an opening in the Triforce. Why couldn't they just have an opening?
Look at how thin that is. That could break easy.
They ran out of openings.
I'm gonna go ahead and call that bow and arrow as the boot of this edition of Monopoly.
Okay.
No one wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already mentioned there is already a Nintendo Monopoly. There's actually already Pokemon Monopoly. That's already out too.
Pokemonopoly.
But as I was looking around, there's surprisingly few video game themed Monopoly. I don't even think there's anything else except for these three now. So it is kind of a rare occurrence to have a video game themed.
Interesting.
Monopoly. And in that spirit, Big Tony style writes in asking, GameStop announced the release of a Zelda-themed Monopoly World, and as a fan of both Zelda and Monopoly, this looks awesome and is highly relevant to my interests. What other video game franchises do you think would make a fun Monopoly theme? So what does it take? Do you have to have a game with interesting locations that you can have on there?
It's not a video game, but I would say Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings.
That probably already happens. But let's. He's asking.
David asks a specific, or Tony Style asks a question, and Justin's like, "I'll fucking just twist this around like milk."
Milk is pretty.
It'd be cool to see one for Tetris, where all the pieces are different Tetris blocks, but I don't know what they're taking over. Like, is it the world?
What's their currency?
Yeah, that's right. Points. But then, like, if you're taking over the world, it's kind of different because then you have to say that one country is, the purple places, which is nobody wants to live there. That's the Camden, New Jersey of the world. It's terrible.
See, I don't want it.
Just no video game Monopoly.
No, I don't. I'm a Monopoly purist.
Oh, you like the good old?
I like normal. It's one of those things. For years, I would get gifts like, oh, the Justice League Monopoly or this, and it's like, thanks.
So let me guess. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that you like the dog. You're the little Scotty dog. Man.
No.
The dog of the hat.
I usually be in the race car like everybody else. I think probably.
Damn it.
It's an unoriginal answer, but the race car's cool.
Isn't there like a man? He's doing something?
There's a battleship. There's the iron. I like being the iron when the race car's taken. That's my number 2.
Do you remember? I have this information here. Can you name the 6 tokens in Nintendo Monopoly?
There is a Samus ship. Well, so there's 2 versions of Nintendo Monopoly actually. There's like a deluxe version, a regular version, but I think there's like a Koopa
I'm really
shell,
tickled that you know
Samus ship, a Master Sword, some garbage from Pikachu, and Donkey Kong's barrel.
Okay, this is a little different.
Okay.
In the one that I researched, there's a star.
Okay, way
A
off.
gyroid. What is a gyroid?
Oh, it's
Things
one of
from
those
Animal
things you put in your house in Animal Crossing.
A mushroom, Zelda's sword, which is, I think, a misprint. It should be Link's sword. Samus's helmet, and Pikmin's rocket.
Yeah, interesting.
Captain Olimar's right.
But there's all these weird things in the game, like you pick up a card and it's like, oh, Mario got in a car accident, you better pay $150. Like, Mario never got in a car accident. He has a whole game about it.
He drives a Mercedes now.
Yeah, but he destroys other people's cars constantly. He never has to pay them money for it. That's ridiculous.
We found out today that Mario is not a human.
Yeah.
That's
stupid.
I still don't understand this.
Nintendo made up their own like species for Mario.
Yeah.
Like
What is he?
Homo
like-
Nintendus.
yeah, he's like a plumber, Homo Nintendus, something like that. It's really
Apparently, their style guide for this stuff is like incredibly.
We're publishing stuff about it on IGN soon.
Yeah.
Within the next couple days. I think Friday.
You can't legally call Donkey Kong a monkey or something like that.
You
like,
legally can.
He's a Kong with a
Keep
K.
using that word.
I'm not sure. You know what I mean?
It's Monopoly law. He's a Kong with a K. That's his species. You can't call him a monkey. So they get a right around this stuff.
I would want GTA Monopoly.
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, there you go.
But then you would just steal all the money.
Yeah, you got to change the rules a little bit, make it possible to steal.
Maybe if you land on someone's property, you get to take money from them.
You ever play Monopoly with people and they sit down and they're just like, they got all these crazy ass rules that don't make any sense?
The house rules?
Yeah.
That's what makes Monopoly last forever, and that's why people hate
like
Monopoly.
the free parking thing, where every time people have to pay out, it goes on free parking, and if you land on that, you get like $10 million.
That's not a real rule.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's like it's like a crackhead winning the lottery. It's not fair.
Monopoly, I'm a board game snob, and that game's a disaster of a board game.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, I really like it.
Yeah, Monopoly's awesome.
If you play just by the rules, you can be in and out in an hour.
Yeah.
You got to just be murderous.
What is the best board game of all time?
That's a big question. I know I'm not as wild about it, but Twilight Struggle is really, really popular.
Never even heard of this game.
I think it's Sorry. Sorry is amazing because you get to.
I really like.
You have to be such an ass while you're playing it because you're like, sorry. Knock them all the way back. It's such a bratty game.
Before we get off the Monopoly topic, it's important to point out that Ubisoft announced today that Monopoly's coming.
That was my next topic.
Greg Way.
Speaking of Monopoly, Damon Way.
Yeah, Ubisoft today announced the Hasbro Game Channel, which is interesting because remember there were many Hasbro Game Night games, and they were published by EA.
Yeah, EA and Hasbro had a big, I think maybe 10-year relationship with each other.
I don't know
what do they mean channel?
So it's like it's for Xbox One and PS4. There's going to be Monopoly, Risk, and Trivial Pursuit, but they didn't announce anything about a pricing or anything. So
it'll probably be. Do you remember
they
did on Xbox Live Arcade? I don't know if they had something like this on PSN. They did like the retro games thing. You could download and then buy retro games within this singular
on Xbox.
app. Yeah.
Oh wait, it was like
arcade.
It was like an arcade. You could actually like kind of walk around, and there was different cabinets.
But you had to buy individual games, and you could like play one for free one time.
Oh yeah.
Credits.
So wait, so this is going to be like a standalone app with games.
It's like an app for your console. Yeah,
that's kind of interesting.
So it launches with these 3 games, and like presumably they could add more.
Yeah. I actually love. I don't usually get into like video game versions of board games, but Monopoly is really fun to play in a video game. Because a lot of the stuff that happens in real life, you get to see happen with a computer. Which is amazing because like when you're dominating a Monopoly and the computer's like, you get these offers.
Does the computer flip over the table?
Hey, I'll give you $11 for Baltic Place, and you're like, nah. And he's like, all right, back to the part where I just die.
Monopoly was the first game I ever fell down the hole with for online.
Really?
Playing on PC back in the day. I was on the case ladder system, ranked in the low 20s.
Wow.
In the whole world. Yeah.
This is an
That's
awesome,
a really interesting.
This is an awesome image, by the way.
Yeah. I'm a big Monopoly fan.
It's a version. It's called Monopoly Plus.
Yeah. No, I like how they made everything look realistic, except for all the parts where the game is being played.
Yeah.
I actually really liked playing digital board games. I liked Carcassonne and Settlers of Catan and Ticket to Ride.
Those versions on Xbox Live were really, really good.
Because since the Xbox obviously runs the board for you, like the games move so much faster than they do, and I think they're fantastic.
Which Mario Party has still never learned how to do. Those games always take 3 years.
Yep.
And just that's like the way people talk about Monopoly. That's the way Mario Party actually
really is. Yeah.
Anyway, Hasbro Game Channel launches this fall, Xbox One, PS4. The games are available individually, not as a service on 360 and PS3, so we'll see how that goes. I just think it's interesting that it's Ubisoft now and not EA.
Yeah.
Well, there's this weird stuff. I mean, that's the same story with Tetris. EA had done EA Tetris, and now Ubisoft is putting out Ubisoft Tetris. There's shenanigans going on back there.
Tetris gets around.
Yeah.
Tetris has been
one of the sluttiest games.
Tetris was, I don't think it was EA for like 20 years.
It's just ramming its pieces into
everything.
Any crevice.
Getting everywhere.
Yeah.
But then if they ram in too tight, they just delete themselves.
Let's check in with the listeners.
Hey, listeners.
What's up, listeners?
Remember, you can always reach us at the email address, gamescoop@ign.com, just like Steve Paul did.
Steve Paul,
he's got two first names.
Don't trust him.
No, not a fan of this at all.
He wants to know, why are there so many sequels this generation? Next year, 2015 will be the third year of this generation of consoles, or at least the third holiday season. Right? We will allow that. The Xbox 360 kicked off the previous generation in 2005, making 2007 the third year of the previous generation. It's giving us a history lesson here.
Yeah.
In 2007, we were treated to many amazing new IPs, such as Crackdown, BioShock, The Witcher, Crysis, Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, and Uncharted. These new franchises jump-started the generation, and their sequels filled the following years. As I look forward to 2015, however, I see the biggest releases are sequels, not new IPs. The biggest releases of the year will be Witcher 3, Arkham Knight, Mass Effect 4, Crackdown 3, Uncharted 4, Rainbow Six Siege, Halo 5, and Rise of the Tomb Raider, which are all sequels. I could be wrong about this trend, but if I'm not, what is causing this trend?
Money.
Yeah, you bought all those games the last time and you loved them, and people took note of that, and they said we got to put.
He's going back to when the market could support a new IP like BioShock or whatever, right? Yeah. There are less third parties making video games right now because the market is so rough.
Yeah, it's impossible. Like, it's almost impossible for anybody to make money making video games anymore. So you have to stick with what you know will work.
We just saw Evolve was delayed till next year.
Well, that's one of the few exceptions. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was delayed till February. Yeah. But I'm saying everyone's really excited for it, but it's going up. It's a new IP going up against a bunch of well-establised brands like Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, even like Alien. So it's like maybe that was smart to push it back into next year. I don't know. Is it true that there are more sequels today than in the past? Like, there were 6 Mega Man games on the NES.
Yeah, like I don't. This doesn't feel new to me. I mean, we always talk about this kind of stuff, but like, I mean, there were, we had Mario 1, 2, and 3 on the NES. There was also an additional Mario sequel that came out in Japan, and that's not counting Mario is Missing, and then Mario's that came out on the Game Boy. There were 3 Castlevanias on the NES, 3 Contras on the NES.
Think about how many Castlevanias were on the
2 Zeldas.
DS.
Like, I mean, this is.
I think it again comes down to the ecosystem. I think there's surrounding those Mega Man and Marios, right? There were a bunch of other people publishing other cartridges. And right now we have that thing where, honestly, when I think about it, like THQ was somebody who would go out on a limb and be like, let's try a new game. You know what I mean? And they are gone. And it's like there are other publishers like that. Yeah. There just aren't. It's what we always talk about, right? You have the AAAs and then you have the indies. There's
that's what I was going to say. There are a lot of really good new IPs I can think of this year, but they're like Shovel Knight, Super Time Force, Transistor, Child of Light. Like they're just. It always comes back to what we talk about, how much the ecosystem has changed. There's just changed. There's just AAA games and indie games.
AAA games cost too much money to take risks on.
I actually find myself saying a lot, man, I'm kind of bummed that we won't get a sequel for certain games. Like, I know Stick of Truth, South Park game. Like, I'd be amazed if we got a sequel to that game. We probably won't.
Yeah, maybe just because
it took so long.
It took them so long.
Yeah.
It was like I think it was a big struggle for Matt and Trey to get that game finished.
Totally.
There was Titanfall, huge new IP this year.
Right.
But I don't know. People seem to be asking the question, what happened to Titanfall? Like, it didn't have the legs that people thought it would.
Yeah. The online community has definitely fallen off in that game.
Yeah, you talk to Fredo about it. I mean, he can give you a million reasons, and it's stuff that Respawn's working to fix, right? Like trying to make that more of a competitive landscape and keep people coming back. But when you don't have that at launch, right, you lose people, and there's this drop off, and it's really hard to get people back. Now, when Titanfall 2 comes out, and people see that thing, and it's got everything. Well, sure, expanding to other platforms for sure will help out. But when you get to come out of the gate and be like, we have private matches, and we have this and this ranking system.
Have you guys seen the stories on the subscription numbers for Warcraft? Like
that's our next topic.
Oh, great! Awesome.
Teeing you up. It's really doing really well with our segues here today. Samir writes in, asking about World of Warcraft. He says, "I've been eyeing World of Warcraft for a long time."
Like a decade.
The starter pack has dropped to $20, which is a fairly reasonable price. So is it too late for me to join now, since practically everyone is abandoning ship, or is there still hope to play with people?
Yeah, it's too late. Don't bother.
Really? I'm not briefed on the numbers. What he mentioned sub.
They announced this week, in the last quarter, they lost another 800,000 subscribers.
Jeez.
It's not too late for that reason, because there's still more people playing that than any game that is perceived as
still
being...
over 6 million people
6.8
paying
million.
every month.
Yep.
At least paying, even if they're not playing.
For reference, a few years ago, they had 13 million people playing that game.
Yeah.
It's still so much bigger than Guild Wars or Final Fantasy 14 or ESO or whatever MMO you consider kind of up and coming. So if your concern is having people to play with, don't worry about that at all. But
if you're just starting, don't you need other people who are just starting to play with?
Yeah, but
that'll always be, right?
Yeah, there's more people on WoW servers than any other MMO.
Yeah.
I would still say don't bother, just because. And this is coming from someone. None of you have played WoW, right? Like, I played that game religiously for years, but it just feels old now because it is old. Like, new MMOs have better ideas. They look better. They've sort of figured out things about the genre and iterated on it in a way that WoW is just on technology that's well over 10 years old, because the game itself was in the works for like 5 years before it came out.
That's what I was going to suggest. Like, if you're itching to play an MMO, why not check out Elder Scrolls Online or
Guild Wars 2 is a great one to start with.
DC Universe Online.
They have more action-oriented combat. They've sort of figured out the exception. The counterpoint is that for pure breadth of content, WoW is the biggest MMO.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, I've only casually dabbled in playing WoW a little bit. I had friends that were crazy into it.
Yeah.
So I sort of over the shoulder would go hang out at their houses and watch. And they're like, "We're on a big raid. I'll be there in 10 minutes." And then 4 hours later, they're like, "We're done." And I really like the art style. That's something that's always stuck with me. But the reason I don't play it is because I see exactly where the hooks would grab me, and where I would not let go for a while. But there's 10, 15 years worth of stuff to do in that game now?
I guess I would want to revise my straight up no. I mean, I will say that newer MMOs, I think, have solved a lot of the problems that WoW, just because it's old, will have a problem solving. But I have a lot of good memories in that world and running around in that world and sort of going on those quests. And there's so much, if you subscribe, you're going to get more pure content than you would in a newer game, for sure.
Yeah, it's weird to think that it's one of the most popular games in the world still, but it's had such a huge drop off in numbers.
Yeah. I mean, it's lost half of its players.
Half of its player base. Most people would kill to have 7 million people playing.
All of them would. Every single MMO that's not WoW.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing, right? When WoW started, it was the MMO, and now there's dozens and dozens and dozens.
How's WildStar doing?
I was just going to ask that. Yeah.
Damn, we're all synced up in this neural network.
It launched, right?
Yeah.
It launched? It launched, but then I just never heard anything.
It launched, and I tried to download it, but it didn't run well on my computer at all, so I couldn't really check it out too much. It wasn't optimized. I have a soft spot for Lord of the Rings Online. That's my favorite MMO. Mm-hmm. That's my DC universe.
Isn't it crazy that there's actually a World of Warcraft movie coming?
Yeah.
So long after the game came out.
From Duncan Jones.
I know. I'm just it's actually looking like it might be pretty good. It's just the timing is weird, right?
It is weird, especially with this news, because it's sort of man, you had so many. Put out the movie when you had 13 million subscribers,
Oh, maybe it works in reverse, though.
Yeah.
The movie comes out and it's cool, and people are like, oh, maybe I'll check out that game.
Well, I also think that people that are deep into WoW, no matter how good that movie is, they're probably going to be mad.
Yeah.
It's just going to change things and be different, and
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I mean, that's okay, right? I mean, there's Guardians of the Galaxy's out, and it's making millions of dollars. And
sure. Yeah, I mean,
it jumped wildly from the source material. And
if you treat the source material with respect, like Lord of the Rings movies, for example.
Or even Game of Thrones changes stuff, but it's very respectful of the source material.
Yep.
Speaking of movies, when I hear there's a new Adam Sandler movie coming out, I typically don't get very excited.
No.
Yeah.
However, have you guys heard about this movie, Pixels?
Yes, we were at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was impossible to avoid.
Yeah.
Well, it was right outside where we filmed all the live show stuff. They had little arcades.
The branding for this movie was everywhere. Are there trailers out yet?
There's not a trailer.
Okay.
So Peter Dinklage is in the movie, too.
That really threw me off.
Looking amazing. We have the image here. Yes.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Damn right.
Great hair.
It's a period piece movie, correct?
So I thought it was, but apparently not. It's like inspired by 80s arcade games, but takes place today.
It's inspired by a YouTube video.
Yes, that original, which I think might have even been called Pixels.
Yeah.
Where 80s arcade characters attacked New York, like giant things. So in the movie, if I understand it correctly, aliens. Here's the original video. Aliens intercept our video game data and mistakenly think it's like planned to attack them from us. So they come and attack us, and they use video game characters to do it somehow. Yeah. But I don't think the movie is licensing any video game characters like Wreck-It Ralph did.
Oh, no, I think they are.
Are they?
Yeah. I heard Donkey Kong's in this movie.
Okay, they haven't shown.
Donkey Dong.
There's no official imagery from the movie yet that shows licensed video game characters.
See, here's my thing, Damon. The way you just explained the plot, I can live with that. The way Adam Sandler is going to explain this plot, it's where it's all going to fall apart for me.
Adam Sandler's friends with the president, and he needs to recruit a team of people to fight back against the aliens, and Peter Dinklage is his old arcade rival from the 80s.
That's awesome.
They used to compete in arcades in the 80s, and now they're going to team up to fight the alien video game characters.
Wasn't the logline Ghostbusters meets video games or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm in. This sounds fine.
Yeah. I've been burned by Adam Sandler so many times. You know what I mean?
But it's video game content, and Peter Dinklage looks awesome in it. So, I mean, I don't know. This movie wasn't on my radar at all. Yes, once again. I think his
what the hell is that monster?
The aliens are here.
The meteors.
Adam Sandler's last movie was his...
here's the team. Oh, and on the left is the girl from True Detective.
Yeah.
Monaghan? Michelle Monaghan, is that her name?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Is she the one?
So did they just stop a bunch of people leaving HBO on Sunday night, and they're like, want to come do this weird movie with us?
Yeah.
Basically.
You don't need to. Adam Sandler's last movie, I think, was his biggest box office bomb ever.
They're getting worse.
He just put up Blended.
Yeah.
That was his most recent one. This like a few months ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to say, this movie was not on my radar, but at least now it's like, okay, I'll casually follow.
I'll keep an eye on you, Sandler and Pixels.
What's going on with this movie?
Will this be the first good video game movie? No.
I don't know.
That was Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Which I actually never saw. I heard kind of mixed things about that.
Really?
Yeah. No one.
You've seen both How to Train Your Dragons, and you haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to fix that, man.
Wreck-It Ralph has a good heart.
Good heart, but is it a good movie?
Yes.
I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
I thought it was overblown. I thought it was one of those movies people were like too high on, but I enjoyed it.
Well, so it's a movie about jumping into video game worlds, right? And they jump into one and they stay there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, they're in like 2 video game worlds for the whole movie.
Yeah. So I like the concept, but thematically, the one place they land on, like you kind of love it or hate it. But the characters are great and the acting's wonderful.
Yeah. Does Scott Pilgrim count as a video game movie?
No.
Okay.
Kind of.
Comic movie.
Yeah.
It's heavily inspired by video games. Our last email this week, really quick, comes from Nick Mellinson. He asked, with so many games these days being delayed, it got me wondering, has the game's release ever been moved up? Yes. Shadow of Mordor was just moved up like a week.
Yeah. Yep. It's never more than like a couple of days or a week or something.
Yeah. And they just moved up Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, the movie, yeah.
Oh, really?
You heard that?
Yeah, they moved it from
like
May
March
2016 to March 2016.
March is weird.
They moved it up like 2 months.
Yeah, get it out of that Captain America zone because Marvel can't be stopped now.
Well,
the summer movie season is just getting earlier and earlier, though. Like, I thought it was weird this year when Captain America Winter Soldier was in April.
Yeah.
It's early, but now they're doing Batman vs. Superman in March.
Yeah.
Well, now Guardians is doing bonkers business.
Yeah, and Guardians was really late. Like, August is kind of late for a summer movie to come out. But it was August 1st. So.
It's the best August opening ever.
Ever?
Yeah, for Guardians.
By far. It was actually the biggest August movie of all time by like $30 million. But it
Ninja
came
Turtles is coming, so watch out. Watch out.
Reviews are really bad for Ninja Turtles.
Greg and I were laughing this morning because he went and checked the Metacritic score for it, and it was like a 36.
Yeah.
And then we walked into the studio to do Up at Noon, and we checked again, and it was like a 33.
It's just falling.
Yeah,
day by
dropping.
day.
Yeah.
Do you even need to see the Metacritic score? You know you're going to that movie.
I'm not going to that movie.
You're not going to that movie?
I'm not going to that movie.
The turtles look so creepy.
Yes. They didn't.
Yeah,
they did not.
Well, actually, so I was actually bummed out because I talked to some people that saw it early here, including Josh, the intern, who's working on the show right now. Who I'm going to out you right now. He told me
the last scoop he helps us out.
Oh, really?
With. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the perfect time to out his story. He said that he met a girl who had a connection to go see the movie, and they went on a first date to see the Ninja Turtles movie.
Like they got to see it early.
Yeah.
And did he say if it was good or bad?
He's like, it's
a movie.
It's all right.
Things.
It's okay. But I was asking him about it, and spoilers. I was like, what? Who are the villains? And he's like, it's pretty much just Shredder, and then like this dude that works at a company. I'm like, there's no Bebop and Rocksteady or Krang or like any of the mutants or anything like that. And he's like, no.
Is there a Foot Clan?
There's a Foot Clan, but they all have guns. They're not really like a karate Foot Clan.
I don't mind that part. That makes more sense.
What if it turns out that Josh didn't even really see the movie?
Probably just made it up.
Yeah, he's trying to be cool.
He never met that girl.
Nope.
He just dies alone, and it's tragic.
And then the meteor.
Kick me now, meteor.
I think that's all the scoops we have for you this week. Next week, Game Scoop's going to be coming to you from Germany. Myself and a bunch of the IGN guys are going to Germany for Gamescom. We'll be reporting actually live from the show floor all week. We'll put up the schedule here soon, but I think at least Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, IGN Live will be live streaming game demos for you from Germany, and we'll be live streaming Game Scoop as well. So that'll be fun for next week. But thank you, Justin. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Greg. My name is Damon. Remember, you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, and we're out.
Milk is murder.